In the following dramatization, note how someone who has just started to have a good relationship with God might need to display strong faith like that of the Phoenician woman.
I never thought it would happen. I finally found what I'd been searching for. A good relationship with God. Then one day, a coworker texted an article that claimed to expose Jehovah's Witnesses. I was tempted to read it. And then I thought back to when I first met Jehovah's Witnesses. I was so excited about what they taught me from the Bible. That God's name is Jehovah, the kingdom is a real government, and so much more. Why would I want to learn about Jehovah's Witnesses from their enemies? But my friends, not so much. I saw people who really love one another. It's a real brotherhood. But it wasn't just the people. This was the truth. I didn't need to learn about Jehovah's Witnesses from their enemies. I had seen for myself that they worshiped the true God, Jehovah.
Did you notice how the young man recognized and put faith in Jehovah's organization? That was a protection, so he wasn't misled by lies from our enemies.
So we're watching Leonard Myers in his talk, Imitate Women of Strong Faith, the Phoenician Woman. And isn't this just a continuation of David Splain's apostate-bashing talk from the Saturday afternoon? I mean, the message is exactly the same. Jehovah's Witnesses here being told to bury their heads in the sand if they encounter anything at all that's critical of their religion. In this case, the dramatization features someone who's studying to become a Jehovah's Witness. And isn't it interesting, before we even get into the whole apostasy thing, isn't it interesting the change in his appearance between when they meet him and when he's giving us this monologue? He starts off with dreadlocks, and by the time he's giving this monologue, he's minus the dreadlocks. He's had to conform his appearance to Jehovah's Witness expectations, even if that means denuding him of an expression of his culture. I think that's very telling. This, for me, should be an issue of concern for anyone who's thinking about studying with Jehovah's Witnesses. If this is the level to which they micromanage you, if they're literally expecting black men to shave off their dreadlocks, what does that tell you about how controlling this group is? And this is in a video that's supposed to be accusing people like me of lying, of exaggerating about Jehovah's Witnesses. I don't need to lie, Leonard Myers. I don't need to exaggerate. You're doing my work for me. You're literally depicting a black man having to shave off his dreadlocks to conform to Jehovah's Witness expectations. And then we get these terrible arguments for ignoring criticism of Jehovah's Witnesses that don't make any sense at all.
I was so excited about what they taught me from the Bible. That God's name is Jehovah, the kingdom is a real government, and so much more. Why would I want to learn about Jehovah's Witnesses from their enemies?
Why would I want to learn about a school I'm considering enrolling my child in from people who've had children go to that school? Of course, if you're considering joining a religion, you're going to want to hear the good, the bad, the ugly from people who've been in that religion, not just those who are still in it and are obviously going to have good things to say about it, but people who've left. Why would you exclude their testimony? If you're going to get a rounded picture of what a religion is like, why would you only listen to one side of the argument? And quite frankly, I found the whole wording of that question quite a straw man, because the question was, why would I want to learn about Jehovah's Witnesses from their enemies? I don't consider Jehovah's Witnesses to be my enemies. And I'm arguably one of the most well-known sources of videos that criticize Jehovah's Witnesses. I don't consider them my enemies. I take exception to the leadership of Jehovah's Witnesses lying to and manipulating Jehovah's Witnesses, because I think for the most part, Jehovah's Witnesses are kind, loving people who don't deserve to be lied to and don't deserve to be manipulated. And that's why I make this information available. My criticism is against the leadership of Jehovah's Witnesses, the governing body, not against Jehovah's Witnesses as individuals, as a people. So it's really a straw man criticism, a straw man argument that's being presented here. And you only construct a straw man argument if your position is weak, so that you need to misrepresent the other side. It's a tool of manipulation. When you need to exaggerate the opposing side to your argument, you are trying to mislead, you are trying to manipulate. And I love the part where he lists all the many things he's learning about God and the Bible. I was so excited about what they taught me from the Bible, that God's name is Jehovah, the kingdom is a real government, and so much more. Yeah, wow, what an extensive list. You've learned that God's name is Jehovah, which it isn't. It's actually Yahweh, if we want to be precise. And you've learned that the kingdom is a government. And that's apparently enough for you to ignore any criticism whatsoever against a religion that you're joining, a religion that wants to control you, and in fact has already persuaded you to alter your appearance by shaving off your dreadlocks. He also says,
I saw people who really love one another. It's a real brotherhood. But it wasn't just the people. This was the truth.
yeah, if it were a cult, you wouldn't be able to say that, would you? You wouldn't be seeing a group of followers who all love one another. You wouldn't be seeing a brotherhood where people from the same group look out for each other and do nice things to each other and love bomb each other. That's not the sort of thing cults do, is it? Except it obviously is. Look, I can't help but see this dramatization as yet another own goal. It's a good example, in my view, of the Streisand effect. The Wikipedia article on the Streisand effect describes it this way. The Streisand effect is a social phenomenon that occurs when an attempt to hide, remove, or censor information has the unintended consequence of further publicizing that information, often via the internet. because the organization are so deluded, because they don't apparently know, because they are so inept when it comes to basic human psychology, they just cannot help but showing how desperate they are. And the more they tell Jehovah's Witnesses, don't look behind the curtain, it's basic human psychology that Jehovah's Witnesses are going to want to look behind the curtain, especially if they had doubts to begin with. And I obviously can't prove it, but I would guess that probably the majority of Jehovah's Witnesses have doubts at some level. And if you're repeatedly being told, both overtly in talks by David Splain, for example, and through dramatizations, don't look at the apostate material, don't look at the apostate material, you're going to sort of be tempted to see what all of the fuss is about. And especially if you're not being given an actual reason why it's, quote, poison, if the organization can give no firm examples of exactly why apostate material is lying, is misleading, is poison, what other conclusion can you reasonably come to than that the apostates might be onto something? If you're going to insist, if you're going to bark orders at someone and say, don't do this, and if you're going to do that repeatedly with any kind of success, it really behooves you to sit down with that person and explain exactly why it is that you're doing this. If you're barking these orders and there's no obvious reason why the person shouldn't do that thing, it's only human nature that the person, while your back is turned, is going to think, I'm going to see what's so bad about this thing that I'm repeatedly being told not to do without any explanation at all or any logical explanation of why I shouldn't do it. So I, for one, am grateful that the organization is quite clearly reeling from the efforts of apostates and possibly from media exposure and lawsuits, etc., to the point where they are desperate enough to make these mistakes. It's encouraging. And it will be very interesting to see what long-term effect this paranoia and scaremongering has on individual witnesses. Don't be surprised if in the coming years we hear of people waking up and coming out of the religion precisely because of the sort of material we've just seen.